All right, let's pop up the disclaimer just for a few moments. Realized it was a little late going live. I thought it was already on. All right, there we go. And now it looks like everyone's on. Sorry about that. I thought it was already on live. Realized I needed to hit the start broadcast button. My apologies, everyone. Welcome to the live stream this morning. Welcome back to all returning subscribers. Also, anyone who's viewed the show before and back for a second, third dose. I appreciate you returning, and also anyone who's brand new who just discovered the live stream in the last few days, or just saw it on YouTube and thought there might be something they wanted to check out this morning. Welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you. Today is January the 10th, 2024. We're here for a New York AM session. And I hope we have most of everyone we're going to have to get started this morning, because I'm going to go ahead and get started with the top-down analysis so we can have an idea of what today may bring. We do have news this afternoon. We've been speaking about it all week. The first news event of the week is at 1 o'clock p.m. It's the 10-year bond auction. So we'll see if that has any impact on price. I'm assuming it will. We'll just see what it does. But as of right now, I want to start off by just taking a peek at the daily on the dollar. I have that on the large screen, and we can see that we're still in range, right? So last week, this big wick candle up and down with a small body was on Friday. We then came back on Monday, stayed within the range. Came back on Tuesday, swept the high just a bit, did not sweep the low, but still in the range. And we can see even, let me make it even larger. We can see even so far today, we have not swept highs from yesterday. We have not swept lows, and it's just kind of sitting there in the range. So that's some interesting price action, but not really surprising, since we didn't have any news that Friday's high and low are still together. So I expect one of those to be pushed towards today, and we'll see which one that is. Okay, I'm gonna now switch down, take a peek at ES. Oops, sorry, there we go. Continuous contract. All right, here we go. So we see previous day high has already been taken so far. Either the Asia or the London session has already peaked above yesterday's high, or actually it looks like it's about equal to yesterday's high, but it was higher than the day before. So Tuesday's high is 48.04 flat. So far today we're 48.04 flat. Okay, so we have equal highs that we'll want to pay attention to. Equal highs for ES on the daily. There's a fair value gap down that it could play into. If we see a sharp movement down, that could be an area where it finds support, and then we take out the equal highs. Right, let's go down to the 4-hour first. Okay, very similar, where there's fair value gaps just below us. If we can sweep lows, then we find ourselves in the gap that could then send price higher. Let's see. All right, there's also a pool of resistance above us. So that's the reason why we've had so far 4 days wick into this area. All days have been closing below, so none of the days are closing inside of this fair value gap. So that's interesting, and something that we should also pay attention to as we look for higher prices. The hourly, okay, the hourly is in a fair value gap, so it's been sitting here pretty much since yesterday around noon without any type of push outward. And it's been a slight movement, but not a lot to talk about. But remember, sweeping lows takes us into fair value gap below, and then going higher is sort of what we eyeballed on the higher time frame, the daily and the 4-hour. So now let's quickly jump down to Nasdaq. Want to make sure that we have a chance to watch the opening bell. Right. Let's get rid of these. All right. Get back on the daily. All right. We also see on Nasdaq a sweep of yesterday's high. The previous day's high has already been swept. So we'll see if that pushes price lower as we go throughout the morning. And generally, that's what that means. But we still need price to start moving in that direction. We need setups on a lower time frame to indicate that that's what's happening to us. But we should be aware that we're sitting inside of a fair value gap from the daily right now, right at the 50% mark. So we had a closer yesterday just below. So far, we had a trade above. It rejected. We're back at the midpoint line, and we'll see where we go from there. Drop down to the 4-hour. Okay, pretty much the same as what we had on Nasdaq. If we are able to break these lows, we can find a big area of support, which can propel us higher. And quite similar on the hourly as well. Let's go ahead and just get down to a lower time frame on the Nasdaq. I wanted to clean the charts up because this does look a bit messy. But before doing so, I want everyone to who's on the stream yesterday, if you remember this area of this in the afternoon, where we had basically at 1 o'clock to 1:30 sell, that high and low price just kind of played in the middle. I put the midpoint in here and it just kind of traded around it all afternoon until it closed off. The closing bell was here at 1800. So this was our afternoon, these 4 hourly candles. If I break it down to the 15, it'll make it a little easier for you. Right. So this was our afternoon. Not a lot to go off of, and I'm sure no one's excited about looking at that price action. But what's interesting is that even though we had a trade out of it later in the day or into London, we find ourselves right now right back at that exact same position. So I just wanted to point that out, that we're back where we were yesterday afternoon. And like I said, that's typically what you'll find when you have consecutive days without news. You might see an expansion, but after that, you'll start seeing price either stall or you'll see a retraction where it wants to wait for news in order to expand again. So here we are, close to the midnight open. And then we have 2 or 3 minutes before the opening bell. So I will close my mouth and give everybody a moment to digest that and also watch the opening bell. Oh, okay. I'll say some good morning. Samuel, good morning. Vivian, good morning. John, welcome back. Yeah, I was noticing. I was like, oh man, I haven't heard from John. Yeah, you didn't miss too much. I'll say that. But it's good to have you back. Last couple of days I have been. Monday was decent. I think yesterday was a bit tough. Probably one of the toughest days I've seen, or toughest days I've had. Uh, but welcome back. And CEO, good morning. Good morning. Anyone brand new to the chat this morning, you want to say hello and let us know where you're from, just jump in the chat and greet everyone. All right, David, good morning. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the live stream. Jeremiah, good morning. Let's see if we can't push some strong numbers this morning. All our returning members, go ahead and hit that like button. See if we can't get a few going early on, and if that won't help the group expand this morning as we trade until about lunchtime. Yeah, me too, John. Hoping for a great day. Need a rebound from yesterday, so I'm definitely looking forward to today. Oh, hey, okay, from Sweden. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't think I've heard anyone else mention they were from Sweden. We do have someone from Denmark, but I haven't heard anyone else from Sweden. Oh yeah, A is already up 135 now, up 260. Sweet, awesome, great start to your morning. Okay, here we are, opening bell. Oh, 450 USD profit. Oh, awesome. That's even better. Okay, I'm looking at the 5 minute here. We have equal highs that was just taken. We have another set of equal highs just taken. A third set. All right, so far all three indices are pushing for higher prices. And ES, remember, had equal highs when we looked at the higher time frame. At equal highs from yesterday, they didn't eclipse it the way the Nasdaq did. So I'll watch that one just to make sure ES does achieve that. That's a 48.04 flat. We're looking for ES to push higher than that. Okay, the Dow is running into bearish fair value gap right now. So far, no activity from the dollar. It's been pretty flat since the opening bell. I know it's just been 3 minutes, but I'm waiting for the dollar to react, and so far, nothing. Okay, max profit 500 USD. Okay, all right. Hey, I hope you get that. I hope that's pretty soon in your day, but we'll see. Oh, okay, Samuel. Good day so far. Awesome. Thank you very much. I also hope I have a good day. Young, good morning. Yeah, I got to bed really late last night. Yeah, for whatever reason I couldn't sleep, and I ended up taking a trade at 2 o'clock. New York time. So I already had one in the bag today that worked out pretty well for me. It was bullish move upwards. So I took a small loss for like 150, and then I came back right after that and took a gain of 1600. So ended up avenging everything from yesterday. So I'm back up to break even before yesterday. So I'm happy so far today. Yesterday was a loss of I think around $1,200. Okay, we have ES finally has now pressed through. ES now has a new high, new daily high. Also, ES has eclipsed yesterday's high. Oops. Now all three indices have eclipsed yesterday's high, which is good. That's what we want to see. You know what? I am going to take that back. The Dow Jones, we still got a little ways to go. Yeah, the Dow Jones, we need 37. 37,887. Yeah, you're right. ES is moving. I mean, all the indices are bullish at the moment. Still no reaction from the dollar. So it's interesting that we have an open bell and very little activity from the US dollar. I don't think it's waiting for the news this afternoon with the 10-year bonds. I mean, obviously that's going to have a big impact on the dollar, but I strongly doubt that's what it's waiting for. Okay, yeah, Dow was almost there. Holy crap. All right, so as we continue to see ES push, or I'm sorry, and Nasdaq. Well, ES is pushing too, but we're watching Nasdaq. Um, Now the question is, are we going to get stopped in this 15-minute fair value gap, which is just above the 16,884 equal highs? So it's in this area. If you look in the lower left-hand corner, you can see a fair value gap just above where we are. So are we going to get trapped there, or are we going for London's high at 906? Right, the Dow is almost there. Got about another 5 points or so, and the Dow will then eclipse yesterday's high. All right, so now all three indices have taken out yesterday's high, and we have S&P and the Dow have also taken out London's high, whereas the ES had the best momentum over London and has so far has not gotten back up here to 906 level. We'll keep watching to see if it wants to make a push in that direction. Pull these back. Hopefully it's not too busy. Okay, now we're getting some movement, some action from the dollar. Dollar's pushing up just like all the indices. All right. So something has to give. One of them is going to have to fall back. Either the dollar's going to have to retrace and start selling, or the indices will. Indices have been the first ones to sweep yesterday's highs. So my bet is on them. But again, we'll wait and see. All right, we're almost at 9:45. We're going to run for 2 minutes, refill my coffee, make sure I'm back before the macro starts, just in case there's anything that presents an entry for us or something that we need to look at. I just want to make sure I'm back for that. But let me run off, refill my coffee. I'll be right back. All right, everyone, I'm back. Okay, we see the dollar still pushing hard. And we finally are seeing a retracement on NQ. And somewhat similar on Dow and S&P, although to a lesser extent. All right, last price leg's already retraced down 50%. Mandigas. Mandigas, good morning. Mendigas. Hmm. Let me just take a peek at the 1 minute just to see what price action looks like there. All right. All right. We see price temporarily being held up by, I was going to say fair value gap, but that statement's invalid now. Okay, so price did get held up by this fair value gap. We saw it push down, tap the Asia low again, and a retracement back into that fair value gap prior to the candle closing. Let me get back over to the 5 minute so we have a higher view of what's happening. Okay. All right, so basically a complete retracement from the leg before the opening bell. Dustin, I can't read the last part of your comment. It's blocked by the emoji symbols. I think you're saying ES is hitting maybe pre-New York highs, or that last word I can't remember. But yeah, as I mentioned, the London highs have been taken out by ES, but not by NQ. Okay, it just says pre. I couldn't read what that said. Okay, awesome. I'd like to take this moment to welcome all the newcomers to the channel. So if today's your first day watching the live stream, jump in the chat and say hello to everyone, and welcome to the channel. Yeah, no worries, Dustin. I knew what you meant. I just part of the message when it's the last message that's been sent. Yeah, that emoji symbol's in the way, and I can't read the later part. Okay. The 4 hour. Okay. Sure did. Ray, I'm not sure. Oh, you're on NQ? Okay. I thought maybe you're on ES. NQ. Let's see. Mm, yep. The one on the 4 hour, if I'm looking at it correctly, looks like the last 4 hour candle stopped right at the 50%. So we got a start of the new 4 hour candle. Yep. Spot on, Ray. Good observation. Splash, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, they close. Yep. That's absolutely what I'm looking for. Hoping that there is a low sweep and then we start moving higher. The dollar is starting to retrace now that we're towards the last minute of the hour. It was making really good progress the last 15, 20 minutes or so. Now it's seeming to be pulling back, and this is the hourly candle. It's pulling back really close to the open. All right, 10 o'clock it is. Hmm. Okay. Yep. Hey, Dustin, have you ever, during backtesting, noticed that when ES or NQ are doing different things on a VWAP, how that plays out? All right, we were talking about we think that it's going to sweep lows. So let's see what happens. We're getting pretty close to it. Okay, there it goes. We now have a sweep of the lows that we mentioned. Now we want to take a peek at price and just see what the reaction is like. Oh, I see. All right, so you essentially have one that's bullish and one that's bearish. Hmm. 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 Right. What we want to see, let's see if we can eclipse this high in the next handful of minutes. See if we get a run up to that level. I mean, it'll take some effort, but uh, it's possible. Let's see if we can get there. Okay, so you're short then. All right, Ray. That's the case. We've already gotten a tap into this fair value gap. So then this could potentially be the silver bullet that sends us lower. All right, retest of the London low. And if we push even lower here, I'm looking at the 775 level on the 4 hour as a bullish fair value gap to potentially find support. Hey, good morning, Math. Good morning. Joshua, good morning. Victor, good afternoon. Welcome to live stream. Um, I wouldn't say specifically just the London low, but the London low represents a pre-session sweep. So that would be a low from a session just before New York. And oftentimes you will see price run for the previous session highs and lows. So it's a level you want to pay attention to, and you want to look for potential entries around that area. Right, good way to start the morning. Originally, I wanted these equal highs. That represents another 20, 22 points. So that would have been another $400 on one contract. But after a day like yesterday, I think I needed to take this win. Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mentioned earlier I couldn't sleep and I was still up this morning. I took a trade at 2 o'clock New York time this morning during the London session, and I was able to make up for yesterday's loss. I took a small two contract loss for about $150. So it was about 7 points or so per contract. And then I re-entered the opposite direction with four contracts and ran it up for 1,600 gains. So I pretty much are combined with yesterday and then this morning's London trade, like plus 200 or so. Because yesterday I believe I lost a little bit over $1,200. But this is a good start to this morning. Even after the London session, really binging yesterday. Now this is just a brand new day, and so far it seems like I saw what I wanted to see. I'll just take everyone through what happened here. I moved down to the lower time frame just because we were in the macro time period. And so in the macro time period, I'm looking for either structure breaks or I'm looking for expansions. In this case, we were expanding down, but I didn't like any of those entries. So I was waiting for a structure break. So this retracement of these two candles and then a new low put this high right here, right on my radar. So then when we sprinted back up with these three candles and took out this high, now all of a sudden I get a market structure shift. And then a retracement back down at 1009 was a perfect, not necessarily just a perfect entry, but it was also represented low risk because I'm entering on this fair value gap and the very low of the range is here. So if I'm wrong, price is just running, as opposed to if I get into this fair value gap and price runs past it, well, it can then go to this fair value gap and then continue on about its business. So for me, I saw it as a fairly decent risk. And then I was looking for just a 1 to 2 trade, which is why you saw me exit. Really, the 1 to 2 was at 47. I got out at 51. So I added 4 or 5 points to that, which is against my rules. So please don't follow me on that one. But ultimately, with enough confidence, I want to be able to start holding for equal highs because that's the target that you really want to look for. That equal high would have been from this entry down here at 18 up to 72, 73. Right, talking a little 55 points or so $1,100 per contract. That's ultimately where I want to get to. But as I mentioned, yesterday was a rough day for me. So I just wanted to take the 1 to 2 and then get out. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you very much. Yeah, I went into full back testing mode again last night. After yesterday, I just wanted to sort of recharge the batteries as far as trading was concerned, get back to student mode. and just reassure my confidence. And so going back through back testing, I was able to do that for me. Yes, yes, there is a YouTube put in a 15-second delay, so that's done by them. I don't know if you can do it live. If you do, I think you have to reduce the quality and a few other things. But yeah, you're right. There is a 15-second delay. HDS. All right. I'll show you just so you can start to follow how I do entries. So when you see me throw up a long tool or short tool, you know I'm measuring for an entry somewhere. So when you start seeing that, you know that I'm looking at an entry. I may not take an entry, but I'm looking at one. And so if you start seeing me put up one of these, then you should be on alert that I'm entering the market or I'm thinking about it. Um, and especially if you see, right, where you see limits, buy limit somewhere up there or a sell or something, then I'm getting in. I do want to highlight the fact that copying trades is not it's not really what we want to do. So I'm not I don't want to be someone who takes a trade and say, okay, everyone follow me. Right? It's at your own risk, and what I really want is for people to have their own trading style, and then we all just kind of feed off of each other. But if you are pretty new to it, or you really respect the trades I take and you want to take them, um, they are available on the screen. But I can't legally encourage you to take my trade, right? I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and so that can't happen. That's also why there's a disclaimer at the beginning. But I will say, pay attention to the long and short tools. That'll let you know whether I'm entering or not. Yes, I absolutely agree. Yeah, the best thing to do is to really just feed off of the different members in the group. Also, anything that I'm saying as far as how I'm looking at the market, what I'm looking for, what I want to see. Um, Also, when I finish a trade and I tell you what I saw and why I entered, take those lessons, and then when we're not online, that's where during your back testing you test out some of those theories yourself, and you get to the point to where you can see them. Then come to the session. Any questions you have, ask. We can try to clear them up for you, further your understanding, get you up to speed quicker. But ultimately, yeah, trading is it's you pushing the button, not me. And so that's really where we want to get. But I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you're here in the room. I'll help you any way that I can. And yeah, just ask any question you have. Yeah, you're right, Dustin. I won this morning, but if you watched me yesterday, I definitely didn't win. And there's some other traders in the room that are on side more than I am. Ray seems to be a pretty good trader and seems to be on side more times than not. There's several others as well. So yeah, we'll all get there. But we're all different traders as well. Yeah, and I guess as a final for the trade that I took, the final reason why I took it is I also saw this as the silver bullet. So we were just inside of the 10 o'clock hour, and the fair value gap was created. We had a sweep of a low, and so that was another reason why I took it. All those things combined um, is how I saw the trade. And one thing I didn't see, but maybe it could be, is right here. I don't know if anyone is better at breakers than I am. But I think this might be considered a breaker. I know who's good at breakers. Math. Are you still in the room, Math? Mathematical genius? Is this the breaker I should have been focusing on? Okay, I'm not sure you're still in the room. If anyone else is into good at breakers, can you let me know if this blue shaded area is how you would have marked up the chart, or would you have marked it up with both of these candles? You're right about that. Staying in the zone is extremely hard, but it's a good feeling when you get there. Uh, anyway, I think this also is a breaker. So if you look at it that way, where you had a low, a high, lower low, and then you had a break of that making a higher high. Okay, excellent. The wealth propeller. Okay, so this would be the breaker coupled with a fair value gap. So this is your unicorn. You have a trade almost to the 50% of the breaker, 50% of the fair value gap, and then you saw it move out of there. So a bunch of things just happened in this one area, and 4 different people can see it different ways, but still take the same entry. Whether you're into breakers, you're looking at the silver bullet, just wanting to take a fair value gap, where you're looking at market structure, and you saw a shift and then a retracement back into the area. Whether you're a order block and you saw this as the order block, well, it didn't quite make it, so that wouldn't have worked. But so many things happened in this area that was just the way I saw it. I didn't even see the breaker until now. Hmm. Yep. On top of that, you had a sweep of the London low. Yeah. Okay, math. So you would have used both. Yeah, I know some people when they do the breaker, they only use the top candles. They'll use like the one that's closest to price action, and others will use the whole range and make it a little larger. All right, but as I mentioned earlier, when I first saw the setup, I was thinking of running up to these equal highs. So let's see if we can get there before the end of the hour. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have an indicator that does the fair value gap for me. It's by nephew Sam. This one here, and so sometimes I'll draw the fair value gaps, and other times I don't. I just let it automatically do it for me. Um, but I don't think I've seen one with breakers. All right, Matthew, you're talking about this setup here? All right. Another breaker setup here. I think that's what he's saying. Higher time frame liquidity alert. All right. Thank you very much, Wealth. Yep. So you had a second breaker here, which was, so if you missed the lower run that I entered, you had a second one. You start breaking down in price, came in, tapped the breaker just here, and now we see it pushing away. So it came in by 2 points and then pushed out. I see what you're saying. Okay. All right, Trader Maury. All right. Yeah, a ton of confluence this morning. Did anyone take this second fair value gap entry just 5 minutes ago? Anyone in the long right now? All right. So anyone who took that trade and just did sort of a 1-to-2 situation like I normally do, it hit right to the tick, 25.5 points so far. Oh, okay. Awesome, Ray. Congrats, man. Glad you're in. 840.5. Sweet. Yeah, I hope it takes out that New York high. And if not, as a very minimum, I hope it gets to at least these sort of equal highs here at 72.5. $874. Okay. Yep, the New York high. Okay. Okay. All right. A. So 841 for you. Awesome. So you should be up 30 points now, which was equal to the trade that I took. So the trade from here up to 51 is the same as the trade from here up to 74. Oops. All right, everyone, we're about halfway through our session today. We still have another hour and a half roughly until the end of our session. So if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, YouTube will get us a few more traders in the room to round out the room as we go towards the second half of this morning. Hey, DJ, good afternoon to you. HDS, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. All right, let me measure up this last leg here. All right, just had a 50% retracement if you're just looking at this most recent leg. There we go. Let's see if it remains above this order block here. See if it can't push through for final target. Angel Ruiz, good morning. Welcome back. Haven't heard from you in a couple days. $8.74. Yep. Definitely. Yeah, you take the target and put it right here as the high of this area, this swing. 8.74 is the high between 7 and 10 o'clock. So that's my New York session. Basically, it's for the most part, it's pre-market plus opening bell is what that is. Are you suggesting trade lessons? Oh, Noor. Not sure I understand your question. I don't have a lot of trade lessons in my YouTube, so I can't suggest that right now. I learn nearly everything I know from watching ICT videos, but yep. Can you ask your question again? Maybe I just not understanding it. All right. I hope anyone who was in a long was able to see this fair value gap coupled with 50%. So now you're in discount, which is good for a long. With also the order block was able to keep you in the trade. Now we have a new high. So let me just remove some of this so you can see. Hopefully that was able to hold you in. And we are getting really close to that 74 mark. Already reached the 72 and 3/4. Oh, there we go. All right. Everyone holding along from this fair value gap. Congratulations on reaching what could be TP, but it could go higher. I don't know. Completely up to you and your risk profile, but congratulations so far. Yes, absolutely. Congrats everyone who caught that long from either the lower position down at the 18 level or at the retracement at the 42 level. Okay, so you say you're profited $20 a day. Okay. Um, if it's $20 a day, are you trading micros, like really small numbers? Sweet, Ray. Awesome. Well, it's still going. So good luck to you. What is this level we're looking at? Okay, so this is right now 6 o'clock this morning's high. Yep. So owner, what I would do is continue back testing, continue practicing, get to a point to where you are really comfortable with a particular entry model, a model that you like, and then just practice that one. Just become really, really good at that one, identifying it, picking where you would enter, which time frames you like, and also where should your stop be placed in order to maintain your trade until whatever target that you generally set. Like when you saw me earlier, I took a 1 to 2 trade. So it depends on where my stop loss needs to be, which is determined by the size of the candles. So that's how I determine where I exit a trade. Other people, it's liquidity. So for instance, like I said, I want to get to the point to where I can I can recognize equal highs and put that as my target. But before I get there, I have to get good at doing the ones that match my personality right now, which is a 1 to 2 trade, which also is the way that I backtest. Um, but eventually I'll get to the point to where I'm seeking liquidity at all times. And that's where the big money comes from. But yeah, just keep going. Make sure that you're focused. So don't try to do everything, just 1 or 2 things at a time. Get good at it, get comfortable with it, and the results will come. Don't worry. Splash, yes, it can be. It depends. They take turns on being leaders. So some days, like yesterday, ES was the pair to trade. It wasn't the NQ. In fact, I don't even think Monday NQ, it was ES. So maybe NQ is leading today, but the past couple of days have been different. All right, Vivian, awesome, good comeback. All right, let's get back to higher time frames so we can see a bit more of the chart and see where we're going. Okay, this was the other. So this morning, remember we're trotting down, we're moving downwards. Remember what happened. I had marked out these two areas, equal highs, right? And they were swept at the opening bell. But then I said, okay, and there's a third one right here. And we saw a retracement back down. And look at what became the target on the way back up. Right? I couldn't have predicted that either, but that's a note to make for future reference. Not only that, could we be looking at potentially a market maker buy model here? I'm not really good at that, so I can't call it, but I can say it looks similar. And then someone who maybe is better than I am in the room can maybe jump in and deny or confirm it. But potentially we get a retracement to this level, right? Come on back down, retest here, and then we go to this level, the London high, which is our daily high. Okay, sell now. Yep, that's another thing. We're also inside of this fair value gap. So what does that mean for price? And no, I'm not owner. I'm not saying sell now. Definitely not. Um, Especially if we're bullish, you really want to go with the trend if you can. Recognize that there is a retracement that happens from time to time, but if you recognize a trend, you don't really want to trade counter trend unless you're skilled at doing so. Yes, owner, I do broadcast every day. If you put the notification on, it'll send you an invitation every morning and let you know that I'm what time I'm coming on. I also come on in the afternoons for the New York PM session, so you'll also get that notification. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ray, I haven't instituted anything like that or really researched any of those kind of indicators, but I can imagine those being really, really helpful. Oh, sweet. Awesome, owner. Glad to have you. Yep, there you go. Yep. So now the big question is, what does this morning really mean for the news event we have coming this afternoon? Right. We saw a push down. Now we see momentum building back up. And what does that mean for this afternoon? And more importantly, what does that mean for CPI tomorrow morning? All right, everyone. New macro just started. It's 10:50. Let me run really quickly, grab some my last cup of coffee this morning. We have another hour coming up, so stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. Let's see what we have now. All right, we do have a push out of the fair value gap area. However, it's been a retracement so far, and we're below the fair value gap. We'll see where this candle closes. Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. If you have a runner and a runner gets stopped out, that means that means you've already collected, right? You've already hit a first target, maybe even a second target. All right, so you're here. You're basically saying the low. So 876, right? Right. And the thing is, if it kicks you out, then we may potentially see a market structure shift and you may end up being able to go short. But we'll see. Let's let the market print the candles and we'll just respond and react to what it does. Yeah, let's see where we are as far as what's going on with the dollar and the other indices. Oh my goodness. The dollar's relentless this hour. Finally swept morning lows. So next hour it'd be interesting to see how the dollar responds after sweeping the morning lows. And the next low that it can target will be pretty much the opening bell from yesterday. No, not really. It doesn't look like it. But we're not there yet. Let's see what happens in the next couple minutes. 3 minutes before the hour. Yeah, you're right, Dustin. And there's more to come from the dollar because remember we have the 10-year Treasury bonds this afternoon. Mm-mm. Another rejection from the fair value gap. Okay, attempt number 2. All right, look at that. All right, is this going to become an inverted? Hey, Phoenix, good morning. How's it going? Oh man, look at Ray running. %50 new high. Wish I could have ran with you, Ray, but I only I only entered with one contract, so I couldn't. Okay. Yeah, Phoenix, I hate to say this, man, but we caught the bottom this morning. Um, we caught it down here at 18, just after 10 o'clock. And those who didn't catch that move was able to get in here at 41. And some people are still in now with runners going. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I only took one contract, so my trade ended over in here like 51. And so this retracement, I was already out and I didn't re-enter. So I wasn't able to catch the second and third leg here. Um, but we did have several subscribers that were able to get it. Yeah, but I think this inverted fair value gap that you entered on, that's a sweet move as well, especially if you're looking for something short like a scalp. Um, just keep in mind the London high is pretty close here at 906, and that would be ideally the next target. Further than that, I'm not really sure where price wants to go this morning. But if you're able to get to the London high, then we're talking about 90 points or so on this leg up from 10 o'clock. Go. $9.84. Okay. Yeah, that's true. We could see maybe this hour, we could see it run up to the London high and then maybe retrace over to lunch. Well, appreciate you. Thank you very much, man. Yep. And thank you to everyone who's liked the video so far today. Really helps out quite a bit. And yep. All right, let's see if we can get something good this hour. We now want to see if this candle here can close above this inverted fair value gap and um, continue bullish and take out this high that was created 5 minutes ago. Otherwise, we want to pay attention to this low and see if it holds. Hey, Ricky, welcome back. Good to have you. Bomb Inc., welcome back. Good morning. Liquidity void from early December when the all-time high was created. Uh, Thank you, Vivian. I appreciate your support there. Uh, Mathematical genius. Which time frame are you looking at to where you see liquidity void? So far, so good, Ricky. Yes, yesterday was a bit rough, but you guys shake those off because you will have days like that. I just spent yesterday evening back testing just to make sure my confidence was intact for today's session, and so far things have worked well. I Had trouble sleeping earlier, and so I took a trade during the London session that worked out for me, and I also was able to catch one earlier at 10 o'clock, which worked out. So far so good today. But I do want to be careful because we have news coming up at 1 o'clock that will impact the dollar, which I'm assuming will also push commodities somewhere. Just don't know where at the moment. All right, so we have a break of that low now. So we can drop both of these. Right, market structure shift. Let's see if it creates a fair value gap. Right, sweep down here, not quite. All right, let me take a peek. See what you're talking about, math. December. Hey, math, can you tell me which date that was? What day of December that was created? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so it's pushing lower now. All right. All right, Ray. Well, that means you've had a good morning so far. If your runner failed finally. Martin, what do I think about FTMO? Not 100% sure. I've never used them. I do know there was, believe that's the firm that had the issue a few months ago where they were being investigated. From what I understand, and this is just hearsay, there may be some regulation issues or some things that they need to clean up, but it's not a bad company. And then I think people who've used them have been getting their payouts, and before, everyone stepped in and kind of shut things down. Before then, from what I understand, is they were a good company to trade for. But if anything's happened for FTMO in the last couple of weeks, I'm not really familiar with the news stories. But from what I understand, it's a good company. Okay, December the 7th. December the 7th. Let's take a peek. Okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was looking at all-time highs, so I was looking at those kind of levels. Oh, you're saying before the all-time high. Yeah, you're right. That is a sizable gap. What happened on December 7th? What kind of news was released? Unemployment claims. Hmm. Yeah, you're right, Matt. That's a huge, huge gap there. We're also on the higher time frames inside of a bearish fair value gap towards the upper quadrant of that fair value gap. But we are, I'm looking at the 4 minute, the 4 hour as well as the daily, and yeah, we're sitting right inside of one right now. Um, So we could have a situation where we get to 1 o'clock. We're in the upper quadrant. So we fulfill this fair value gap and then price goes lower. It's definitely possible. Um, don't know. Let's see what we can do here. Right. Let's see. Let's see what we get. This is my first time using a poll, so I apologize if something doesn't work or it looks weird or if it's in a bad position or any of that. Okay. Right. Did we find support here in the same fair value gap from that second entry from this morning? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Well, let's give it a few more minutes and let's see what everyone thinks about what the news event's going to do today. Be interesting just to see where we land. All right. All right, everyone. 11:20, 11:20, 40 more minutes left. Mm. Retest of the order block, just like on this side. So far, we've seen it move up about 15 points so far. We'll see if it's actually reaching for new highs, or is it just filling in some of these gaps that it lost on its way down. So we'll just wait and see how price continues to deliver, and whether we get back up to this inverted fair value gap that was so prominent when it was in that area. Yes, I'm back after lunch, Michael. I will see you at 1300. So far, it seems like everyone is believing that price will be bearish this afternoon. So then we'll be looking for some sweep of a high, and then for lower time frame price action to show us an entry for a short, if that is to be true. Yep, I'll leave the poll open a little longer. Let's see, we can get a few more votes and see if everyone else feels just as strongly as the first handful of voters. All right, we want to see if we can take out the high from 4 or 5 minutes ago. If we can do that, then we can expect price to continue to move higher. Not saying it'll take out the ultimate high from earlier, the 897 level, but we could definitely start moving into some of these fair value gaps and back up to the inverted one. Right, could be that this ultimate high one is a breakaway, so we never get back there. But I'm just saying this range here is in play for another 8 to 10 points. So far, equal highs. It hasn't broken through. All right, still consolidating and ranging here a bit. We did put in equal highs at the 876, so I had it marked up as a level to break if we were going to continue to see higher prices. It didn't break; it made an equal high and then started breaking down, sweeping these lows that were just created. So now we'll just wait and take a look at the next few candles and see if that continues or if we see something different. Okay, potentially this or the fair value gap below can provide some support and we can get another push. All right, we have quite a bit of time still remaining. If anyone has any questions, throw it in the chat so we can go ahead and start answering those so we don't have to wait until the end. Price has been a little slow moving the last 10 minutes or so, so we do have time to discuss a few topics if anyone has anything. Okay, that first fair value gap didn't hold. Well, let's see how the second one, see how the candle closes. I stand corrected. Both held. We saw a rejection in price back to higher than the opening. So we end up with a bullish candle, even though there was a sharp push down. Now we're starting to see some momentum towards those equal highs. Let's see if that continues. Muhammad Mustafa Bag. Are you saying you just close your trade? Yeah, I trade prop firms. I've been doing this now. End of next month, or yeah, somewhere around the end of next month will be 3 years for me. The first year was really a year of discovery, just trying to figure out the different trading styles, the different trading mentors, what I like, what I didn't like, which questions that I want answered first. So it was a lot of that. And I discovered ICT towards like when I was like maybe 9 months in. And then from then on, I just started pushing with the ICT curriculum. I did the 2022 mentorship. I followed some of his other videos, and then I followed him for the 2023 mentorship that he did. And probably, I would say, July, August of this past year, 2023, is when I sort of broke away from all the education and just really started focusing on just practicing and just trading as opposed to continuing to learn more concepts because it can become overwhelming. So what you want to do is just figure out 2 or 3 things that you love and like, and just go from there. Become an expert in those entry models. Figure out when the entry model doesn't work. All those kind of things. But yeah, coming up on 3 years and 2 years really of heavy duty trading. And I'm still new to live streaming, so I'm in my 6th week now. So the show will get better, I promise you. I'm just kind of fiddling my way through and trying to find what works and what doesn't, and how I would like to present. And here we are. So far, everything's been going well. You guys have been extremely supportive. I feel good every time I come on the session, and so I'll keep doing it. I'm actually, David, I'm in the middle of my 150,000 funded challenge. No problem, David. Just keep showing up. If you show up, I'll be here. Yep. As long as you guys continue to support me, I will continue to be here. All right. Awesome. Splash. Yeah, it seems to be the people who really enjoy my live streams are those who want a more calm and chill environment as opposed to a more lively, energetic show full of emotions. And I don't know. I don't know what else is built into them. I've only watched a handful. I didn't want to be, I guess I didn't want to be persuaded by how the other shows are going to try to do the exact same thing. I wanted to be more true to my personality. And so far, it seems like you guys are appreciating it. So I'm going to keep doing it the way that I'm doing it. Yeah, the one thing I do hope to prevent, and I've heard other either streamers or other people on social media talk about a lot of negative energy. I hope that we don't get caught up in the middle of all that kind of stuff, because that's definitely not the intent here, and I don't think anyone in this room really wants that. Too much Red Bull. Well, I'm just coffee. No Red Bull over here. All right, just split that area into two so we can see if it's in the upper half or the lower half. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Dustin. Okay, well, I'll have to find a way to contain the trolls and figure out a way to mute them or something. All right, 31 votes. Thank you, everyone who gave their opinion. I know some people were neutral or they're pretty new and didn't really have an opinion, but it looks like we are split 40-60 on the bearish side. So, or let me say it properly, 60-40 bearish. All right. Full disclosure, I voted bearish, but we'll see how the evening holds out for us, or the afternoon, I mean. Oh, the 10-year bond, 10-year bond. Let me pull that up just so we're all familiar with where we're headed and what's going on here. All right, 10-year bond at 1 p.m. The bond auction, I mean. There's a 30-year tomorrow at the same time. And then remember tomorrow morning, 4 red folders, all at 8:30. Core CPI month over month, CPI month over month, CPI year over year, and unemployment claims. So let's keep that in mind as we head into tomorrow. But also we have the 10-year bond auction this afternoon. So as soon as the session starts this afternoon, we should see price react to this bond auction, and then we'll go from there. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Hey, there we go. We had those equal highs taken out now. This retracement that we had was, geez, okay, all the way down, nearly a full retracement. Right, let's get rid of these. All right, let's see if we can, price will continue to push. Is at the 71% retracement from the move down. Yep. If it can push through and close above this fair value gap, then we're back in business with this inverted. Right, anyone who took this fair value gap long, if you went 1 for 2, your trade has definitely been over. Right, it was only a 13 point take profit because the stop loss was only 6.5 based on these low wicks. Anyone else who preferred this fair value gap? Let's go ahead and mark that one up. I know price hasn't retraced in that level yet, but I do want to mark it up just so we can see what an extension would look like. All right, right at the upper edge of this fair value gap. Okay. Let's see this one here. Oh, this is going to be even further. All right, right to the upper limit right here. High of the morning. Okay, and that's a 1 to 2 trade coming off this first fair value gap. You can see your stop loss would be 10 points and a quarter. So that's what, 41 ticks. And you'll be looking for a TP of 82 ticks. Now that all is contingent on a retracement into one of these zones. The only one that's already come to fruition is this one. That one's already been delivered. Let's drop down to the 30-second and see if there was something else. Okay, there was an entry here as well. But all right, back up to the 5-minute. Since majority of the group is bearish for the afternoon, I'm not at all surprised that we're showing a bullish movement now, especially if we can get up and sweep these highs during lunch, or between now and lunch, or during lunch. What happens is you see this high being swept, and then we have a news event at 1 o'clock, and then you can see price falling. But since we're not market makers and we're all just speculating, we'll still have to wait and see. We'll also have to see what the dollar is doing at the same time. But that would be our expectation. If we're bearish in the afternoon, we may see a sweep of highs, or at least getting close to those highs. Like these fair value gaps up here, somewhere in that range. Maybe even potentially, a lot of times you'll see of a swing high like this, third candle, you'll see the candle body being traded to, and then you'll see a failure. So you just want to keep an eye on all those levels. Right, we reached 83% retracement. If you look at this move down here, we've already now retraced 83% back up. We go back to a lower time frame so we can see more candles. Yes, CEO I was. I took this one here. So I had a long here at 818, and an exit at 852 up here. Right. And ideally, not that I could predict this, but ideally these are the type of trades that you want to have. You want to have a trade that you choose a target, you put your stop loss in place, and then as you can see, this is the 1 minute. It just, every single candle just was making more progress towards the target, and within 5 minutes the trade was over. So that's the only trade I've taken this session, but I did also take a London session trade. At like 2 a.m. I was up laying in the bed, couldn't sleep. Looks like price was moving in a direction I wanted it to. Price action looked good to me, and I took a trade, and it worked out for me. Yeah, CEO. I've the last couple days I missed them as well. That's one thing I'm also getting used to is hosting this channel as well as also being a trader. So I'm getting better at that as well. Not trying not to miss opportunities, but also trying to be informative and a good host to all of you. Oh, thank you very much. Thanks. Yeah, we had some other members in the room who I took the one here at that fair value gap, and we had some others who took this trade here. So it was about 20 minutes later. People were able to get in and still run that up for 30, 40 points. And if you just let it run, you could have gotten 50 points on that second entry. All right, we see another retracement price is having issues getting higher. That was one of the things I pointed out is that you could see an 80 to 90% retracement and still a failure to make new highs. Um, so we just want to keep an eye on that as we move through the lunch hour, or the last 10 minutes here and then the lunch hour, because we do have news at 1. Okay, we're in the macro period, 11:50 to 12:10. And during this period, we want to see if there is any structures broken. If you get a market structure shift, then you can look for an entry after that. That's one of the things I've been looking at during my back testing sessions is when you get a market structure shift, are you good to take an entry? And it looks pretty good. I'm still back testing, but it looks pretty good on during those macro periods. If you get a market structure shift during the final 10 minutes or first 10 minutes of the following hour. Right? Even if as we look at this big price leg down, right? We had our low put in right here, right? And that low was not broken. So when that low was put in, the high that mattered was up here. In fact, it's at the top. And so this move up never violated that. So we were still bearish, even though we saw all of this. And so what we're seeing now does not represent a market structure shift. It's just a continuation. And this was just a retracement. What we would have wanted to see is when we had this up candle, we would have wanted to see this candle coming down, break this low. That would have then made this a low that we want, a high that we want to pay attention to. And so then this move up would have been a market structure shift. We would have then been bullish. But since that never happened, we never switched to bullish, or I never switched. All right, everyone, 7 minutes left. Final questions, final comments. Remember, we'll break for 1 hour. We'll come back for the afternoon. We'll watch and see what the news event does for us. Once price settles down, we'll probably at that time look and see if there's a favorable entry that we can take. If we can't find anything in that first hour, then we will attempt another silver bullet at 2 o'clock, similar to what we did at 10 o'clock this morning. And yeah, that's the sort of the plan for this afternoon. Yeah. Okay, Andre. And that's a tricky one. Okay, I'll give you the first one. So it's ICT midnight and 8:30 open. Those are two key levels you want to pay attention to in the morning when you get started. That's a free one. Unfortunately, the one that gives me like the New York and Asia high and low is one that is actually a paid indicator that I joined someone else's mentorship and it came with it. And that's this one called TGFX, previous days high, low, session high and low. My guess is there's probably a free one on TradingView. I'm just not aware of it, but this is a paid one, unfortunately. Anyone else in the room, do you know of any session high and low free TradingView indicators that you can recommend to Andre? What move would I make if the highest fair value gap is hit? YL, are you talking about this one here? If this is what you're talking about, it depends on what happens. If it pushes through the fair value gap and closes above, then I'll look for a retracement there and for higher prices. If it pushes up and rejects down, then, and actually, you know what? Um, let's see what we got. Let me just measure something quickly. All right. Okay, if we push into this fair value gap and we continue to close below 50% of this area, then I would look short. And that's the 888 level. If we start pushing above and start moving above and closing above, then I would start to look long. But we would still need to eclipse this high here, right? Short of taking out this low. If we take out this low, then this is a much easier trade to make. If we don't take out the low, then we don't get a market structure shift until we get back up here. So at that point, I would want to see it break, and then I want to see it come down and retest, and then go up. So I hope that helps. ICT kill zones and pivots. Oh, okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. Hope that helps, Andre. Oh, Levon Inc. Same one. Okay. So several people are using this one. Good. Okay, let's clean up the charts a bit here. Actually, I'm going to leave that high and low. I'm going to redraw the middle point for this area. I'll leave it up for the duration of the lunch. And so when we come back, we can see exactly where we are and see how price reacted in this area. DIY Custom Strategy Builder version 1. Okay. Let's mark that down and see if we can't do something with it. All right, Lexart, thank you very much for that recommendation. I'll have to check that one out. Session Liquidity CEO, thanks for that. Awesome. Looks like everyone has tools that are similar. Retested a small fair value gap at 1117. Okay. This one here. Yep. 1150. You see it retesting here. Both candles that pushed through closed above, and then you saw it push outwards. Yep. Good job, Elmer. Good observation. All right. I think we've come to time. So unless there's anything further, I will release everyone for an hour, and we'll come back and do the whole thing again. Obviously, with different circumstances this afternoon, but we will be back in just 1 hour. I want to thank everyone for a good session this morning. Thank you to all returning subscribers. Couldn't do this without you. Any newcomers, again, thanks for joining us. I hope you found value in today. Go ahead and subscribe so you can get invitations to all future sessions. Hit the like button on your way out as well. That really helps out quite a bit. It also lets me know, that you guys are enjoying it, because I know everyone's not pressing the like button. I can see how many people joined throughout the session. So the people who do hit the button, that lets me know that I have at least that many who's finding value in the session. So thank you all. We'll talk again in about 60 minutes. Thank you. Cheers.